ramp walk a cakewalk? No, this question isn't a case of smart wordplay to grab your attention, but it is something that one should, as it has made me, delve deeper every single day since I started out as a model. I started modeling as a young girl, fresh out of college, and as a young enthusiast of that time, I was looking forward to an exciting new career which had all the prospects that I was dreaming of. But wherever I went, whoever I met, whether it was family friends, relatives, old friends, they all had this one question for me. Oh, modeling, yeah, interesting, but what do you really want to do? I want to model. Yeah, but what do you eventually want to do? It can't be a real profession, can it? I mean, it's not going to sustain you. And, sundry other questions which was related to this whole real profession thing. Initially, I wouldn't deny that I would always get offended. It made me angry, upset, because I felt like whoever I met was trying to instill fear in me, fear against a profession that I was really passionate about, fear of what will happen if I stepped into an industry where I had no mentor, fear of whether I will ever get a respectable partner if I stepped into a profession like this, fear of maybe giving up on my values as a price, and fear of the shelf life, low shelf life of a model. Fear. Fear is not only detrimental to a person's sense of being, but also detrimental to the 100% that an individual should be giving to the profession of their choice, to the full potential of an individual. Nowadays, I see that there are new avenues for professions, and I feel very happy for the new generation, because I feel the new generation, you guys, are much luckier than we were. But yet, when it comes to this one question, what do you really want to do? It always crops up when a young boy or a girl wants to take the decision that I took so many years ago. These are some of the most renowned international models who are from Indian origin, and they are doing extremely well in their field of work. They're being appreciated for reinventing themselves every other day. The reason why a lot of us might not know them is because of the lack of Bollywood connect. Bollywood in our country allows us to connect and appreciate the talent of a person because we have access to that. But what about those models who decided not to take that path, who decided not to become actors? Is it fair to overlook their talent because the inability of people to gauge and understand the kind of work they do? Every profession has its pros and cons, but I feel that in India, modeling as a profession is still a taboo. So-called progressive families still cringe at the thought of their child making modeling a full-time profession and try every possible way to dissuade them from following their passion. Modeling, like any other profession, requires rigorous training, both theoretical and vocational. Young boys and girls consistently and constantly practice to the extent of perfection, because at no point will an error be forgiven. Like me and my friends from modeling always say, that people will forget the 50 wonderful covers we've done, but always remember that one small picture that came out in some fashion magazine at some point. That's how unforgiving it is. These are two very famous supermodels, one nationally and one internationally, both of who went through the horror of a wardrobe malfunction on the ramp, and it's probably unfathomable what a person goes through when something like that happens, but the industry respectfully remembers them for how beautifully and how Gracefully, they corrected their malfunction. Not for a single moment did they lose their poise, and with unflinching confidence, completed their job with aplomb. Meaning to say that versatility, constant practice, determination, hard work and toil makes for some of the greatest and most successful models. And which is why, despite the fact that there are newcomers, new faces, new talents every other day, only a few manage to make the cut. While in a lot of professions, cross-departmental working or cross-divisional working is unheard of, in modeling it's preferred and in fact essential to a certain extent. It adds to the credibility of a model if you can juggle the ramp, fashion shoots, commercial advertising, movies, television, now web series. And we mustn't forget that a model is a self-governing and a self-employed individual that over time, on the basis of his or her hard work, has the leeway to choose the kind of work he or she wants to do. So the decision then to overlook these facets of a profession and take away credibility from it is not based on rational thinking, but something that is called age-old habit or conditioning. Yeah, so believe it or not, I still get asked questions. Now, of course, with a major tweak. So what now? What are you going to do when you're done? Is that why you decided to settle down? Well, talking about settling down in the typical sense, married for almost a decade, have done some of my best work actually after marriage. Whether I'm done, as of January 2018, I have completed 20 years in this industry. If this is not a real profession, I have no clue what it is, honestly. So I'm not denying the competition. Honestly, it gets brutal, intense, cutthroat, but just like in any other profession. But do people stop applying for jobs because of competition? Or do senior officials give up their jobs because there are newer people in the company? So why then judge modeling? Isn't modeling a profession too? How you deal with competition is what makes the professional that you are. And how you turn a situation favorable to you is a skill that transcends across professions. Oh yeah, so I did this ad recently, and I was very curious to know why I was cast. Because usually when they're launching a product, they prefer to use a new face. And they said that I had high recall value, and despite the fact that I've been around for so long, there was this freshness I had that added credibility to the brand. I feel that your career should grow in tangent with your life, like your career stage in tangent with your life stage. There's a time for everything. There's a time to be aggressive, then there is a time when you should get wiser with your choices. Hence, it's the opportunities that you take that defines your worth, and not the profession that you chose to be in. So I feel the biggest never-ending battle and the saddest truth is that people are programmed to see what they want to see. And the biggest testimony for that is the gorilla illusion created by Daniel Simmons. We all know that there are wonderful creative people all across our country who are doing fantastic work in their own field. But creativity, as they say, is subjective. It's much like how beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. And I myself have witnessed this, that a lot of times so-called creative people have dismissed models, refusing to even audition them for a part, saying, too glamorous, can't act, or can do only glamorous roles. I feel the shallowest thing to do is not even give someone a fair chance, basis some perception, Sure, you have the right to judge someone completely, whether it's a model or an actor or whoever else in any other profession. But to generalize and not give someone a fair chance, how fair is that, really? I often have a private laugh with myself whenever people come up to me and say, "Oh, you don't behave like a model at all." Okay, I have no idea how I'm supposed to behave like. But yeah, so I like to get my adequate rest, at least 8 hours of sleep, so that I can be good at my job at hand. Because healthy living, a healthy lifestyle, discipline, these are prerequisites for a good model and for the longevity of a model, rather. I have also never gotten into smoking or alcohol consumption or drug abuse. So my idea of partying is very different from the general perception of what people think of models kind of partying is. And trust me, there are lots of people like me in the industry who put in all the hard work and toil and discipline so that they can cope with the job at hand. Yeah, there are days when I just sit in bed, watch my favorite shows online, and eat cake. And then there are days when I like to step out in just pajamas and sweatshirt. Am I insecure? Maybe, or perhaps never. I realize that people like me and several others like me who represent the glamorous industry, we are always expected to be well-groomed, well-turned out, because by default we happen to be trendsetters or trend smashers because of our profession. But we mustn't forget that we are humans first, all of us, and our professions come later. And to expect someone to act or behave like their profession is sort of unjustified. It's much like judging a tattoo artist for not having a single tattoo on his or her body, or maybe an investment banker who has fluorescent pink hair. Judging someone or expecting someone to act or behave like their profession is a thing of the past, is a thing of regression. I believe it is time and high time that we move beyond. I'd like to leave you guys with this thought that thinking and acting progressive are two very different things. What you decide to do would make all the difference.